In the grand theatre of royal drama, some acts end in triumph, others in tragedy. But what happens when the curtain refuses to fall? When a family torn apart by duty, betrayal, and the relentless hunger of the press finds itself at the crossroads between reconciliation and permanent exile? Ah, dear friends, gather round once more. The royal saga continues, and today we delve into perhaps its most crucial chapter yet. Just when it seemed the chill between father and son might finally thaw, word comes from behind palace gates that reconciliation is proving far more complicated than headlines suggest. Yes, King Charles and Prince Harry may wish for peace, but the path to mending old wounds is tangled with history, mistrust, and demands that reveal just how deep the cracks have grown. Today we'll explore not just what Harry wants, but why these requests strike at the very heart of what it means to be royal in the modern age. For this is not merely a family feud, it is a battle for the soul of the monarchy itself. To understand today's crisis, we must first acknowledge an uncomfortable truth. This family has been at war for years. Not the kind fought with swords and cannons, but with leaked stories, strategic silences, and carefully orchestrated public relations campaigns. The wounds run deep. Harry's departure in 2020 was not merely geographical, it was emotional, spiritual, a severing of bonds that had taken decades to build. The Oprah interview shattered any pretense of private grievance. The Netflix series pulled back the curtain on palace machinery. Spare laid bare the psychological toll of royal life. But then, something shifted. Reports of a so-called peace summit between their aides gave many a flicker of hope. A secret meeting, arranged between Harry's trusted communications officer Meredith Maines, King Charles's secretary Tobin Andreae, and Sussex PR head Liam Maguire, hinted at progress. Picture it, three individuals representing two worlds that once seemed irreconcilable, sitting across from each other in some discreet London location. For the first time in years, a real channel of dialogue seemed to open, tentative, fragile, but real nonetheless. But as one palace insider revealed to our sources, Harry is not prepared to simply sweep old grievances under the rug. He has made it clear that reconciliation must come with concrete action, not vague words. For a man who has endured relentless press abuse, public humiliation, and threats to his family's safety, Harry insists on protections and respect. Now let us examine these so-called demands that palace staff are whispering about with dismay. I use quotation marks deliberately, friends, because the language we choose reveals our bias. Are these demands, or are they reasonable requests from a father protecting his family? Harry has asked for full protection for himself, Meghan and their children when in the UK, funded by the King. Some paint this as entitlement to prince who walked away from duty, still expecting royal perks. But friends, let us remember the very real threats this family has faced. From racist attacks in the press to online conspiracies and even terror plots foiled by British authorities, security is not a luxury, it is a necessity. The couple's security costs in America reportedly run into millions annually. Would any loving father not wish to ensure his son and grandchildren are safe on home soil? Consider this: Princess Anne, Prince Andrew, even the Duke of Kent receive protection. Harry's children are grandchildren of the King, yet they would be vulnerable the moment they step off the plane at Heathrow. The irony is bitter. Harry left partly due to inadequate protection for his family, and now that very issue blocks his return. Harry has long fought to shield his family from what he calls the vultures of the tabloid industry. By asking Buckingham Palace to step in and coordinate press boundaries, he's not asking for special treatment, he is asking for dignity. For too long, the palace has wielded the media as a weapon, leaking stories to protect one royal while sacrificing another. Palace insiders have admitted to this practice, briefing against Harry and Meghan to deflect criticism from other family members. Harry simply wants an end to the endless feeding frenzy that leaves Meghan demonized and his children vulnerable to the same treatment he endured as a boy. Remember, this is a man who watched his mother hunted by photographers, who knows the deadly cost of press persecution. And third, the request that has caused the most palace pearl-clutching formal respect for Meghan. The reports claim Harry insists she be treated as HRH, complete with bows and curtsies. But look closely, this is not about titles or theatrics, it is about respect. Meghan has been treated as an outsider from day one, despite being legally married to a prince and bearing his children. The same courtiers who bow to other royal spouses have pointedly excluded her from such courtesies. Asking the royal family to show her the same courtesy extended to others is not about ego. It is about healing the wounds caused by years of cruelty and exclusion. Of course, these requests have not gone down well in all corners of the palace. The institution that prides itself on never complaining, never explaining, now faces a family member who demands both acknowledgement of past wrongs and guarantees of future respect. Insiders say Prince William bristled at the idea of bowing to Meghan. But why? If the monarchy truly stands for tradition, then why is extending courtesy such a hurdle? One might suspect it is not about protocol at all, but about personal resentment. The contrast could not be starker. William, the dutiful heir, has played by every rule, attended every engagement, smiled through every criticism. To him, Harry's demands might feel like rewarding rebellion. Yet this perspective misses a crucial truth. Harry's departure was not rebellion, it was survival. King Charles, meanwhile, is said to be torn. On one hand, he wishes to see his son and end the rift that has shadowed his early reign. The king who once championed progressive causes, who modernized the monarchy in subtle ways, understands that times have changed. On the other hand, he faces resistance from courtiers who fear conceding to Harry will set a precedent. These are men and women whose power derives from maintaining the status quo, who see any accommodation as weakness. Yet what precedent is greater than family? At the end of the day, reconciliation will require humility on both sides, something in short supply within palace walls. The timing could not be more delicate, friends. Harry is due in the UK on September 8th for the Well Child Awards, a charity close to his heart, and one he has supported for over a decade. These are among Harry's most genuine moments away from palace protocol, connecting with children who face extraordinary challenges with remarkable courage. It's telling that even in exile, he maintains this commitment. But that same date, September 8th, also marks 3 years since the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. A day of private grief for the family, public remembrance for the nation. The Queen who held this fractured family together through sheer force of will and devotion to duty. Reports suggest King Charles may be in Scotland for remembrance, raising questions of whether father and son will even see each other. The symbolism is painful even in death. The Queen's memory might keep them apart. Royal commentator Jenny Bond has suggested William may one day find a way to reconcile with Harry, but not soon. The wounds, she implies, are still too fresh, the positions too hardened. And yet must reconciliation always wait for another day? Time, as we know, is not infinite. Charles is 75, Harry is 40. How many more September 8ths will pass in silence? Critics are quick to say Harry's demands represent an ultimatum: reconcile on my terms, or not at all. But look closer at the man making these requests. What Harry seeks is not petty privilege. It is protection for his family, dignity for his wife, and honesty in how the institution manages the press. These are principles, not perks. Harry has shown repeatedly that he is willing to work for change. He has built a life of service outside the monarchy, championing mental health, veterans and young people through his Archewell Foundation. His work with Invictus Games continues to transform lives. His advocacy for mental health has helped break stigmas that the royal family once enforced through silence. His dedication to his wife and children shows a man who has learned from his family's mistakes. This Harry, open, vulnerable, willing to show emotion, represents everything the old monarchy feared. But it also represents everything the modern world expects from its leaders. His work continues, with or without a royal title. But when it comes to his father and his homeland, he asks for fairness, nothing more, nothing less. The debate over Harry's request touches a deeper truth. The monarchy itself must evolve or risk irrelevance. How can it claim to represent all people if it cannot embrace one of its own? Meghan's treatment has shown the world the limits of royal inclusivity. Here was a chance to truly modernize an intelligent, accomplished woman of mixed heritage joining the family. Instead, she became a target for every prejudice the institution claimed to have overcome. The Commonwealth, once the jewel in the monarchy's crown, watched with growing unease. If this is how royalty treats a princess, how does it truly view their nations and peoples? Look at other European monarchies: Sweden's Crown Princess Victoria, Denmark's Crown Prince Frederick, the Netherlands' King Willem Alexander. They've found ways to honour tradition while embracing change. For King Charles, granting these assurances to Harry is not weakness, it is leadership. It is the act of a father who values his son more than the whispers of courtiers or the headlines of tabloids. The king, who spent decades advocating for environmental protection, interfaith dialogue and social justice, surely understands that family healing requires the same courage he's shown in other causes. So, my friends, as Harry prepares to return to the UK, the stage is set for another chapter in this ongoing drama. Will father and son meet? Will demands harden into barriers or soften into understanding? The questions multiply. Can a monarchy built on hierarchy accommodate a prince who demands equality? Can a father's love overcome institutional resistance? Can a family wounded by public scrutiny find private healing? One thing is clear: Harry is not bargaining for power. He is standing for protection, respect and truth. And in that, he honours not only his wife and children, but the very idea of family itself. The royal family faces a choice that will define its future: evolve or calcify, embrace or exclude, heal or harden. And so we watch with hope that the bonds of blood may yet prove stronger than the chains of tradition. That September 8th might bring not just remembrance of the past, but the possibility of a different future. This has been Adrian, your humble narrator, and you've been watching Meghan and Harry Tales. Until next time, may we remember, healing is never simple but always worth the struggle.